So moving on then to think about the behavioural preference related conflict. And before we look at some of the specific strategies relating to different behavioural preferences, I just want to take a moment to consider a simple approach that can easily be recalled in conflict situations. Now, we call this model the SVA approach. Space, value, action. So if we look at each one in turn, space first of all. The first thing we need to do is create a safe space for the parties to come together. We need to think about things like the location of the meeting, making sure it takes place in neutral space. It's easily accessible for all parties. We need to appoint a facilitator who is is definitely detached from the conflict, someone who will be able to remain objective throughout and is acceptable to both parties. We need to agree some ground rules to encourage the parties to come with an open mind, to listen mindfully, to be present, to be aware of the thoughts and judgments, to give space to the person who is speaking and resist that shutting them down and speaking over them. We also need to agree that people can call for a break, because by taking breaks, it provides that mental space for reflection and evaluation of the discussions. It gives the parties a chance to perhaps cool down, cool off if it's getting a little bit heated. And taking a short break can be a great tactic to help maintain the openness that is required to resolve conflict. We then had value. So value is about starting, as we did with the previous one, clarifying issues, to have some clarity of the specific issues that are generating the conflict. And then once we've got that comprehensive and clear understanding of the issues, the next stage is to acknowledge the contribution of the behavioural preferences of the parties involved and how they contribute to the conflict and how these differences may have augmented the situation. For example, thinking preferences bring kind of logic and are much more comfortable with conflict situations. They tend to have a clear idea of what an acceptable outcome will look like. Whereas people who tend to have a higher feeling preference bring much more of a people focus to the issue. They're concerned with the fairness, ensuring that everybody's opinions are appreciated, that everybody has a chance to speak. And they're often more likely to be able to move away from a singular position in favour of perhaps even a compromise to reach a resolve the conflict. So lastly, the third, the A, is that action. So here we've created the safe space. We have looked at how the behavioural preferences contribute or have contributed to the conflict. So now this stage, it's about what do we need to do to bring around closure to the conflict. So the first thing to do, we need to establish some guiding principles. What criteria will be used in the decision-making process? And these should be agreed by all parties there. And that will ensure then that the reasoning behind decisions it's out in the open, it's openly communicated, and it's been agreed upon by all parties. Once the criteria have been agreed, then options can then be generated and explored before agreeing upon the specific actions that will be carried out. But once we've got as far as getting those specific actions, we don't just stop there. We then need to take it that one stage further and to be able to draw a line under it, to seek closure of the conflict. So we need to kind of come to a closure of the meeting with the sentiment that basically, look, we've resolved the differences, we've worked it out. It's now time for us to get back to work. Just drawing that line, seeking closure. So there we have our space, value, and action.